Hi, hello, it's Maya. Welcome back to my channel. So, listen, I know that these videos aren't really like the most popular videos on my channel. However, they're pretty fun for me to do, and at the end of the day, I don't care that much because I'm just gonna film what makes me happy, right? And honestly, they're quite easy to film simply because, like, whether it's a new release or just watching an old movie that I haven't seen before, I'm typically always watching horror movies. That's like the main genre that I look for and that I enjoy. It's already a hobby, okay? A passion of mine, if you will. So it's kind of like killing two birds with one stone. I can watch a bunch of horror movies that I may or may not enjoy, and then I can sit down and review them for you guys so that you can decide whether or not you're gonna go watch them. I am hoping to make this a monthly thing. However, if I have like a dry month like I very much did in January, then I'm just gonna like smush the 2 months together and just film a video on the last 2 months instead of the last 1 month. You guys know how things work. You're not stupid. I don't have to over-explain to you. Also, to make my life easier, the descriptions I'm going to be giving for these movies, I'm just gonna pull straight from like Google, IMDb, and Wikipedia and stuff like that. Just because like thinking of my own descriptions for these movies sometimes is like the hardest part and can be a pain in my fucking ass. I'm just gonna do the easy way out and plagiarize. And that's all I really have to say. So let's just jump straight into January. On the 6th, I watched The Menu. A young couple travels to a remote island to eat at an exclusive restaurant where the chef has prepared a lavish menu with some shocking surprises. I give this a 4.5 out of 5. I love this, honestly, like every second of it. I even watched it again in February with my sister, even though she had like just watched it like 3 days prior for the first time. And I think that same night, actually, my parents ended up watching it too. It's not exactly horror in the sense of like it being scary or having like an overuse of jump scares or anything like that. It's more so horror in the sense of like just kind of like the uneasiness of like where's this going? What exactly is happening? Very much like a, I don't want to say like mystery comedy thriller, but I'm also not saying that. There's just this whole like playful, uneasy tone to the movie that just makes it like really fun to watch. Casting was like 10 out of 10, and having Ralph Fiennes as a chef really like pulled everything together in my opinion. So yeah, I think it's the only movie on this list to get like a 4.5 out of 5 stars for me. So next one. On the 15th, I watched Alien Covenant. I don't know why I did that. On their way to a remote planet on the far side of the galaxy, members of the colony ship Covenant discover what they think to be an uncharted paradise. While there, they meet David, the synthetic survivor of the doomed Prometheus expedition. The mysterious world soon turns dark and dangerous when a hostile alien life form forces the crew into a deadly fight for survival. I gave this a 3, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this was mostly just like an okay watch for me, simply because I really did not have a clue what was going on. We had put this on knowing it was part of the Alien franchise. However, I personally didn't realize it was a sequel to Prometheus, which I've never seen before, and like I probably should have watched it beforehand. That being said, I can't really say anything like too positive or negative about it. Like I said, I gave it a 3, so it's just a very like neutral in-between movie for me. The CGI I thought was good, and the praetomorphs, whatever the frick they're called, they look good. I liked it. On the 18th, I watched Margot. As seniors celebrate their final college days at a smart house, its highly advanced AI system, Margot, begins to take on a deadly presence of its own. A carefree weekend of partying soon turns into a dystopian nightmare as they realize Margot plans to eliminate them one way or another. So I gave this a 1.5. This was just like a fun, goofy, silly little watch. And unfortunately, that's all I can really say about it. I wouldn't say that it was a waste of time. The premise of it just kind of seemed a little bit generic to me, and it kind of seemed like a movie that was just made to be made. We did get a little surprise of Lachlan Monroe, which if you don't know, he was in Scary Movie, Freddy vs. Jason, and a lot of like the early 2000s like Wayans Brothers films, which, I mean, classic, iconic early 2000s actor for me. Anytime I see him in something, I'm like, he's from Scary Movie. But like also, if he's the best part of a movie and he was only in it for a little bit, that should probably tell you what I think about the movie. I definitely just treated this as like background noise. So literally, if you want to like just put something on when you're hanging out with like your friends or your significant other or something and just kind of do other things in the meantime, this is probably gonna be your best bet. On the 20th, I rewatched The Green Inferno. A group of student activists travels to the Amazon to save the rainforest and soon discover that they are not alone and that no good deed goes unpunished. I give this a 4, and I'm pretty sure I've talked about this on my channel before, as in like, I think I used it in one of the covers or my thumbnails. I'm not positive though. Doesn't matter. Anyways, I'm not gonna like dwell on this for too long. It's a good movie. It's got kind of negative reviews online, but like I really like it. Is it kind of just gore porn? Sure, but some people like that, some people don't. I personally just enjoy this movie and would rewatch it again. Moving on to February, the first movie I watched was on the 17th, called Bliss. A painter currently facing the worst creative block of her life turns to anything she can to complete her masterpiece, spiraling into a hallucinatory hellscape of drugs, sex, and murder in the sleazy underbelly of Los Angeles. I gave this a 2.5 out of 5, and my god, that was such a cheesy description, but I think that matches perfectly for the cheesy vibe of this movie. I have honestly like no idea what to think about this movie, and I don't even know if I'm giving it the proper rating. Just I don't know. I didn't hate this. It was very easy to get into. I just thought the acting was very mediocre, and that kind of like pulled me out of it a lot. The whole like sex, drugs, rock and roll, fuck everybody, I'm a broken artist thing just seemed way too over the top and cheesy. And then to find out it was like low-key about, spoiler alert, I think vampires? I don't even know exactly, because I was just like, I got halfway through, and the other half I was like, I can't do this anymore, but I feel the need to finish it. Yeah, it couldn't keep my attention. It was just overall very flat for me. On the 22nd, I watched Profile. An undercover British journalist risks her life by trying to infiltrate militant extremist groups online. Try to say any of these descriptions without stuttering, Maya. She adopts an online alias, struggles against a manipulative recruiter, and investigates techniques used to recruit jihadist wives. I don't sound white at all saying that. So I give this a 3.5. This movie, yeah. Let me first start off by saying that I would say this is more a drama thriller than horror. But that being said, I don't remember the last time a horror movie got me this immersed and bothered by it. I was so frustrated by this movie, and I swear to God I called out the little plot twist like 5 to 10 minutes before it was gonna happen, but I did it as a joke. I was like, dude, I swear to God, if this happens, I'm gonna fucking like flip my shit. And it happened, and I was like, you're kidding me. It definitely wasn't like the most fleshed out movie I've ever seen, and it definitely had its flaws, but if you want like a ridiculous watch that grabs your attention and somehow manages to keep it for the entirety of the movie, even though it's all just based like, or taking place on a computer screen, then I would definitely watch this. I think it was worth it. It just, the main protagonist makes you very angry. I spent half this movie like yelling at the screen, but like in an entertaining way. That same night I watched Emergency. Ready for a night of legendary partying, 3 college students must weigh the pros and cons of calling the police when faced with an unexpected situation. I gave this a 4. This was a really fun watch despite the one qualm I have about it, but I don't want to get into that too much. I will get into it, but just not too much. First of all, it was mostly comedy, a little bit of drama. I wouldn't say there's any like thriller or horror aspects, but I don't know, that's what the internet kind of says, so maybe? It was a really fun plot built on a systemic issue that still somehow managed to not make a mockery out of it, but then again it also still kind of made me a little bit uncomfortable. Like, it definitely stays lighthearted enough that you're not like constantly reminded about it throughout the entire movie until kind of near the end, which that's kind of what bothered me about the movie. But you know, there's Carlos who wears a fanny pack and stores granola bars in it, and so now I bought a fanny pack and I store granola bars in it. Yeah, basically I'll talk about it really quick just because I guess like trigger warning for like police violence. They showed a little bit too much for me in my opinion at the end of it, and made me kind of uncomfortable just because I tend to avoid those videos in real life because it just makes me angry and I don't want to be angry. I just couldn't tell if it was like exploitative or not. I was like, is this a good thing that this is in this movie, or is it a bad thing that this is in this movie? I don't know. I just wanted to let you guys know that yeah, there's a scene at the end where it just kind of was like, oh, that's a bit too much. Okay. Now I'm gonna move on. On the 23rd, I watched Skinamarink. 2 children wake up in the middle of the night to find their father is missing and all the windows and doors in their home had vanished. So this was a 1.5 from me. And I'm gonna need TikTok to shut the fuck up on this one. Okay? Because y'all keep failing me with these fucking horror movie recommendations, and so far at this point, they've all been awful. You guys had the world hyped up with Megan Goes Missing back in 2020. Don't act like I forgot. Okay? Don't act like I had that movie in my watch list for a while and I was like, well, I might as well give it a watch if everyone's getting so obsessed with it. And then I had to turn it off 20 minutes in because the acting was fucking horrible. And then finding out that the only scary part in that movie is like the 4-minute like sexual assault scene at the end of it. And that being said, I still haven't seen that movie and I'm not gonna watch it because I don't care. I don't want to see that. And that's the thing, is that this movie is probably worse. And I get it, you know, listen, analog horror, love the concept of that, love the idea of it, but like, give me something else other than visco filters and grainy fucking film. I get it, it's the 90s, you don't have to remind me. Okay? I don't care if the greatest horror movie moment known to man happens at like the last 20 minutes of this movie, because that's what I did not watch, because I could not handle how absolutely boring it was, and then the entire time just listening to little kids mumbling, barely speaking English. Like, okay, just, I don't want to have to endure that for the first hour and 20 minutes in order to get to the good 20 minutes at the end, alright? Don't speak to me. On the 25th, I watched The Menu. Like I said, that's a rewatch. Let's move along. 26th, I watched Megan. A robotics engineer at a toy company builds a lifelike doll that begins to take on a life of its own. When Gemma becomes the unexpected caretaker of her 8-year-old niece, she decides to give the girl a Megan prototype, a decision that leads to unimaginable consequences. And alright, girlies, I got the hype with this one. I give this a 4. This was such a fun watch, and I honestly did not expect to end up liking it as much as I actually ended up liking it. I would like to first shout out Violet McGraw for actually being a good child actor and playing the part good enough so that, like, she was a little brat in this. She knew how to make me feel sorry for her and, like, piss me off at the same time. Love that. It's basically just like the girly girl version of Chucky, which I'm not mad about at all. On the 26th, I watched Halloween, the 2018 version. Laurie Strode confronts her longtime foe, Michael Myers, the masked figure who has haunted her since she narrowly escaped his killing spree on Halloween night 4 decades ago. Locked up in an institution, Myers manages to escape when his bus transfer goes horribly wrong. This was a 3.5 for me. I don't know. I really don't. I will admit, the Halloween series, franchise, whatever, is not my favorite slasher franchise. I'm definitely more of like a Freddy or Jason type of gal, but I do think it holds up pretty well considering it is like a sequel slash follow-up to the like original ones. I guess my biggest complaint is that Laurie is just extra annoying in these movies. And like, I can't pinpoint the reasoning, but she comes off very overdramatic, and like, I get it, you know, it's this whole showdown between her and Michael Myers because this man has been like terrorizing her and everyone in her life for the last 40 years. But yeah, it just felt really over the top, and I just didn't vibe with it as much as I would like other slasher films from the 80s, so yeah, sorry. On the 27th, I watched Halloween Kills. Surviving victims of Michael Myers form a vigilante mob and vow to end his reign of terror. So I gave this a 2.5. Oh, the heat just came on, so if you hear something, sorry. I gave this a 2.5, but thinking back on it now, I'm gonna give it a 2. It picks up immediately after the first one, and oh my god, do I wish it didn't. I didn't like this movie. It's 100% a background film for me, and I'm gonna be honest, I've never seen more stupid people in a horror movie in my life. The vigilante mob, like, shut up. I'm sorry. They're all so embarrassing. It's so dumb. The fact that they all thought that the escaped, like, mental asylum patient was Michael Myers and they like chased him through the hospital. Spoiler alert. They're not even built the same. Like, the man had an entirely different like frame and posture. And you really think Michael Myers is gonna be like running away from a fucking mob? No, he's gonna be standing there fighting off everybody. Like, what? I was actually staring at the screen just like blank face in disbelief at like the stupidity I was witnessing. I know it's a horror movie, so it's just trope at this point to make everyone fucking stupid, but like, just chop the man's head off. There's a whole scene at the end of the movie where he was fighting off like, I don't know, like 10 to 20 people at once, and they're all just like taking turns beating his ass. No one had the fucking thought to just like stab him in the back of the head and like chop his fucking neck off, or chop his head off at the neck. Laurie's daughter goes up to him and like stabs him in the back. Girl, stab him in his ear. Like, it just pisses me off. I don't like that movie. I'm gonna move on before I have a hemorrhoid about it. On the 27th, I rewatched Underwater. Disaster strikes more than 6 miles below the ocean surface when water crashes through the walls of a drilling station. Led by their captain, the survivors realize that their only hope is to walk across the seafloor to reach the main part of the facility, but they soon find themselves in a fight for their lives when they come under attack from mysterious and deadly creatures that no one has ever seen. Gave this a 4. Fun fact, this was one of the last movies that I watched before COVID came and ruined everything. I still think it holds up. I really enjoyed the movie when I saw it in theaters, and this was my first time rewatching it since. and I still think it's pretty good. I love that you actually see the creature for like longer than a few seconds, because horror movies love to just like blue ball you with implying that there's some like grotesque creature but then never actually showing it. And it's like, no, like show me the goods. I want to see it. Why are you hiding? There's no need to be shy. I'm not gonna get into it too much because like I said, I'm pretty sure I talked about this already. It's just a fun watch. I loved it. And also blonde Kristen Stewart with a buzz cut. Need I say anything else? On the 28th, I watched I'm Just Fucking With You. On the way to a family wedding, a man and his sister endure a night of increasingly frightening practical jokes during a one-night stay at a secluded motel. Gave this a 3. I'm not gonna lie, I did watch this while slightly under the influence of alcoholic beverages, but I think that was like the best way to watch this movie. It's something that's like not so serious, it's a fairly simple plot, and it's just really easy to follow along to, and you don't have to pay like that much attention to it. So I kind of like disliked everyone in this movie, especially the protagonist Charlie. If you get your rocks off harassing and stalking a girl online that you used to date however many years ago, then I guess it's on you, buddy, but oof. It starts off strong and then kind of like falls midway through and then somehow manages to pick itself slightly back up. So that's kind of why I just gave it like a 3. Like it was entertaining first like 20-30 minutes. Then it was just kind of like, for like the next, I don't know, 40 minutes, and the rest of the movie is just kind of like, okay, that's a bit better. Does that make sense? Cool. So yeah, there we have it. That's everything that I watched in the months of January and February. Feel free to leave me a comment telling me like your favorite or least favorite movie on this list, something that you watched the last 2 months that you enjoyed or didn't enjoy, or I don't know, just debate me on my opinion, because opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one. Is that the saying? I don't remember. Something dads like to say, right? Like I said, I'm hoping to do this monthly, if not bi-monthly, so like fingers crossed I find some good movies to watch. I'm just hoping I can be consistent with it. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to like and comment and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.